What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 4 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Settra, Great King, the Imperishable, Khemri, and many more campaign. So as we saw last time, Settra has taken the fight to the vampire counts, defeating several of their armies, including that led by Manfred von Karstein himself, though I made the error of trading them for money, the Sepulchre of Heavens, meaning we have to return there, unfortunately. It is what it is. Sometimes the carniv gets you. But anyway, other than that, we have taken Carrion Nest from the Skaven up in the north, and the Swamp of Terror will be eventual, as we have pieced out with them for a decent chunk of change, in part because we have 2 Skull Islands here, which we need to prioritize with Hakor, as, well, that's 20k gold. I actually think it's not 20k gold for the Tomb Kings. I think it's 10k or maybe 8k. I don't know. I think the amount of money they get from the islands is reduced, but I could be wrong. We'll see, but we still want those. And of course, more important than all that is the fact that we got the Chariot of the Gods for Settra, who looks pretty fantastic on that chariot of his. It's a pretty great looking unit, all golden and armored with those burning wheels and all that, and I can't wait to continue using it. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this turn, I think more or less it's a brand new turn, other than building buildings, so we can take the Oasis of Blood with the 2 stacks of enemies there. More chariot action and do whatever else. So, Mr. Tutmos, you are going to continue scouting until you find whoever it is that you need to find. Wondering whether it would be faster to go up the coastline instead of the way that you're currently doing it. Mostly I just want him to go find the elves, because the other scout, Prince Scout, Prince Scout is moving this way. A moment. Where's Prince Scout? Alright, actually you're moving this way. Alright, fine. And then you can then move up this way. Alright. And then they'll split off to find whoever else they need to find. Somtic, you're going to stick around here. We need you to keep an eye on what's going on out here. Aha! Oh, it's the last little army belonging to the Necrog Brotherhood. I wonder what they're doing. They're not at war with anybody here, are they? They're not. We could redeclare war on them in 3 turns and wipe with Sauron out for good. I wonder if he'll take the opportunity to take a settlement from the Drakenhof Conclave, but I guess we'll see. Either way, it's time for Settra to move, so Settra, you're going to pop into the Oasis of Blood and knock out a few more of those enemies of ours. Pyrrhic victory, medium casualties, that's what I like to see. I want to just double check one thing. We can pop into Great Dynasty's stance, and I think we should. Let's do it. Not so much for the casualty replenishment trade, I just want to make sure that we get it up and running before we take the settlement, because, yeah, there's a lot of corruption here, and I don't want to deal with it for too long, at least. Anyway, to the Oasis of Blood. Alrighty, here we go. Really gotta enjoy these Vampire Count / Drakenhof Conclave battles while we can. They'll be gone before long, or at the very least for Settra. After Manfred's done, it's probably going to be a long time before he encounters another Vampire Count's enemy. Speaking of Settra, as usual, the Chariot of the Gods will trundle forward, increasing its speed as it moves towards the enemy blob, but actually stopping as it gets trapped slightly. My mistake. You're supposed to push through, but I was hoping that these 2 enemies would blob up around us and thus allow us to pop off a Wrath of Petra. Get that thing on cooldown immediately, but oh well. There are better targets for that, I suppose, like this unit of Cairn Wraiths. Might as well head directly towards them, as they're going to be a very critical unit for us to destroy, as the other elements of our army aren't going to easily be able to deal with them. Anyway, Settra's going to wait for them to blob up a little bit while our other chariots start to work. There we go, a nice little charge, as well as the incantation of Cursed Blades on one of these units. I guess this one. Yes, causing a little bit of extra damage and bleeding those zombies, skeletons, bats, and whatever else they run into. And the same thing is repeating itself all the way on the other side. The AI has decided to essentially create a very long front of a battlefield here. And this is not going to go so well for them because it's allowing us to essentially use our piles of chariots, obliterate a few units, back out, but the enemy doesn't have enough mass to actually trap us or do anything about it. On top of that, our main line is just waiting all the way back here while we bombard the enemy with the Casket of Souls, at least while we have it in Settra's army. Caskets of Souls are so limited, you gotta be careful where we put them, and admittedly, Settra's army does not and probably will never really need to be relying on it, especially as we're probably gonna get the Sphinxes. Maybe we'll do double Khemri and War Sphinx and then pop the single Sphinx of Usek, the Necro Sphinx Regiment of Renown that you get at level 30 for the Tomb Kings. I had a lot of fun with that thing, playing Katep. In fact, it bailed out his army so many times and achieved so much that, and I really like the unit. But anyway, I digress. The Tomb Bark is working well over on the left flank, protecting the chariots, allowing them to back off while dishing out the damage. 24 kills so far, and not anything crazy, but it's also anchoring the line and, you know, doing work. There's also the nice combination of the Tomb Bark reduction of the enemy with the Beetle Swarm. Missile and weapon resistance by 25%. That combines with the Overwhelm from the Necrotect, where, you know, where we use the Necrotect. Anyway, Settra's still in the middle of the enemy formation. We're just waiting for the cooldown of Petra's Wrath to go down again, so we can pop it off and destroy as many of those guys as we can. In the meantime, though, we have now finally moved some of those Tomb Guard forward, and it's going to be a fight between them and some of the enemy Grave Guard. Of course, the enemy has been spamming halberds a lot with the Vampire Counts armies that we've encountered. Hey, I would do the same thing, but good job to them because it makes it all the deadlier for our chariots when they do get trapped. Gotta love the range on that Casket of Souls, though. Gonna continue bombarding the enemy. Out here, over on the left flank, we've trapped some of the bats, or the bats have landed and are engaged in combat with the Tomb Bark and the Khemri and War Sphinx alike. Neither of which is going to be particularly or threatened at all by a pile of bats, which are just meant to distract the units. It looks like, judging by the damage here, Settra has gotten off another one of his abilities. He's up to 350 kills now, never even having bothered to leave. Just swinging that halberd, allowing his horses to, to ram all of these jerks. And it's working quite well. I wonder if we can get him any kind of damage over time effect as well. That might be nice. Worked really well on Thorgrim, but I guess we can't steal a Rune of Spite. Too bad Settra doesn't have some kind of, I don't know, beetle swarm about him as well. But anyway, the main line is still engaged with the enemy. Tomb Barks hovering overhead, buffing us, debuffing the enemy as they do. And the Khemri and War Sphinx, now having dealt with all of those bats, has returned to the fray to send many of those Grave Guard flying. Perhaps the halberds not going to be helpful enough here to deal with the Sphinx. And that's just the one. We'll have more to the army eventually. And of course the more elite variants of Tomb Guard. I still haven't decided which ones, because there's, I don't know, 3 or 4 different special Tomb Guard that you can get. One regenerates, one is more defensive-minded, and I believe one is sort of like... I think 2 are super... Well, I guess they're all Tomb Guards, so they're all defensive-minded. So one regenerates, one gets a buff that the longer it fights, the more physical resistance and defense it has, and then the third one has this other buff that's similar, but essentially a hold ground buff where they cannot move, but get significant buffs while doing so. I think the cannot move one is probably not the right move with Settra's army, and then again, we could block them up and then allow them to sort of sit there while the chariots and the sphinxes and stuff do the work. I'll think about it. Or we just pick whichever one seems like the best one and give that one to Settra, because you know he'd just take the best unit and go on. Anyway, it looks like the enemies have been destroyed over on the right flank, and here come all of our chariots. You gotta admit, they do look good in numbers, even if they do look a little bit flimsy compared to some of the chariots of the other factions, with all of their heavy armor and whatnot. I still think that the Tomb Kings really desperately need a heavy chariot unit. And I find it a little bit strange that they don't have one. Or like, I think I suggested this in the Discord. I figured that Settra should be able to get a Legion unit that's like, I don't know, the King's Chariots or something like that. Some heavier chariots that he can recruit, like he can recruit the Hawk Legion of Settra. But anyway, a decisive victory for us. Our chariots and our Tomb Guard obliterate the masses of vampire counts. Alrighty, there we go. Very nice. Nearly 500 kills and 100,000 damage for Settra. Hardly surprising. And we tried keeping him sort of locked down on his chariot, essentially in a blob rather than necessarily just charging through. And it still works very, very well. So yeah, he's still an absolute menace with his halberd, even if he's on a chariot. Just putting him through the ringer and all that. Otherwise, we got great work on the tomb barks. This one got 26,000 damage. The regular chariots got did very well. This one nearly 500 kills as well and 50,000 damage. Pretty darn solid. Followed by the title keepers. Otherwise, decent damage on one of the skeleton spears. Good job, little fellas. And not a lot of work for the Kepra's Guard in this particular battle due to the fact that they had to guard the Casket of Souls, which eventually is going to be punted out of this army because we don't need it. But for now, we do need it, so it'll be swapped out eventually. And also great work to the Tomb Watchers with 19k and solid numbers of kills. Lovely. Lovely work for Settra. We'll occupy the place. Tempted to sack it, but with the massive public order losses here, it's not going to be a good idea. Plus, as we saw, it's not worth it. So, yeah, we're going to pop into Worship of SF, I guess. And don't collect the income here, and then delete the open graves. And the Vampiric Corruption will be gone here soon, assuming that the others don't move in here. Decent likelihood that Wasoran tries to move down here and immediately starts raiding us. I certainly wouldn't be surprised. Qatari Desert is... yes, it's this territory. Alright, that looks good to me. Now I have to book it on down here before this guy takes all of this back, or even worse, moves down here, which would be tremendously irritating were it to happen. You will need to be upgraded. You will eventually want to be deleted, but we don't have the ability to build advanced military structures right now anyway. I was just thinking that we should keep making use of militia restored, but anyway. Can it? Oh, right. You, sir. We're going to proceed to Ash Crossing, and at the very least besiege it. Let's see what we have here. We can't attack it because we need towers. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough, and they do have Graveguard compared to our Skelly boys, but I think we should be fine as long as we can build the siege equipment. Hanat will get a proper army, guys, don't worry. He just has the dregs from other armies right now, but we're a little busy everywhere else to deal with him right now. Now, Hakor, very important. You need to head down to... I'd really like for you to head out to sea. I wonder if you can... Alright, let's find out. Hopefully you can actually go to the water here. And yes, you can. Beautiful. All right. And you have a point available to you. Now, the question is, where do we spend it? We really do need to get the Restless Dead, so we have at least a little bit of healing, though. I guess we'll max out Neru's and then maybe grab... I still don't really care for Resurians. Mostly because it's a single target. Or rather than an area of effect spell, so it's not going to do much unless... I mean, we could use it on something like a... I don't know, like an elite unit, kind of like a mini Fata Biuna, I suppose. Tra's Incantation of Righteous Smiting, base missile damage and armor-piercing missile damage will be useful potentially for popping onto the Casket of Souls, so we could at least get that. It's not super expensive and all that, after all. So yeah, alrighty, anyway. You sit there, get ready to go for those Skull Islands. And King Wakov, oh right, you're done with your recruiting, at least for now. Oh, this also means we could name some of your Tomb Guard. Did we name all of Settra's Tomb Guard here? I got a lot of Tomb Guard names. Tomb Watchers, Loyal Bones, and Mao Protectors. Oh, Kepra Guard, we will rename you to Sons of Horus. Tiny little perk for channel members, ability to rename the regiments of renown, but otherwise we'll do the Tomb Guard here. And of course Settra's going to get more Tomb Guard. Eventually, but I think, you know, Legion Tomb Guard, Elite-er Tomb Guard. What were you gonna do here? Oh, how about Undying Guard? Grand Protectors. Sepulchral Sentinels. I wanted to put these guys with the other army last episode, but then I realized they'd be better with the Sepulchral Stalkers. Makes more sense, right? The Marrow Legion. Like the Barrow Legion, but Marrow Legion, fantastic, well done. And Guards of Ra, there we go. Alrighty, now, Wakov, we have to decide where we send you. Ooh, wait, we don't have that Necrotect I wanted, did we? We did not, damn. Alright, I really want that Necrotect, but what can you do? Wakov, oh, we also need to pick a tech. You know what, let's wake Rakash, why not? Might as well get him up and running. He's going to give us a +2 control for all provinces, so I think that alone is going to make him worth our time immediately. Yeah, it's pretty costly in terms of canopic jars, but we need to save up a lot of money to get Khalida anyway, so it's not a huge difference. Now, the real question with Wakaf is, do we risk... Assuming that we can take Ash Crossing, we should be able to take Sphinx of Fa without issue. Meaning we could try to push you towards the orcs and risk getting attacked from, like, 10 sides at once, because we got enemies, potential enemies, 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 potential enemies, potential enemies, potential enemies, in fact, guaranteed enemies, chaos and all that. So, yeah, we don't have enough armies to police all of our borders right now, so overexpansion is kind of dangerous. On the other hand, shut up. Yeah, we're gonna go on, and why not? Water's fine. You need to channel, though. You don't have a mage, do you? Wait, you do have a mage now. Is this the right mage? Lich Priest and a Hekara with Advisor? Yeah, right. Frenzy on the Lord. Yeah, makes sense for this guy. Go. Let's see what we got here. Huh, actually I just realized another thing. The other option would be to ignore those guys and then go down the waterway, pick up a few islands on the way. I saw several. I think there's another one somewhere out here. Yeah, there's one right... Wait, no, I selected that one before. And then maybe, oh yeah, there's another one here. Maybe get ready to conquer Numas, although that's probably something central. You know, I'll think about it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes against the orcs and whoever else we might run into around here, and contract our borders if needed. City of Kings. We are good here, or at the very least are not going to be upgrading anything right now. Black Tower of Arcan is still being upgraded. So we're waiting on you. Great Pyramid of Settra. Maybe we remove the Grand Ossuary here now and then replace it with a advanced military structure. Might be the way to go, especially because we won't have room for all of them in Khemri because of the stoneworks and the pyramid and all that. Yeah, maybe. Alright, fine. We'll do that, and I think that's about it for this turn, meaning we can go next. Oh wow, the Drakenhof Conclave will attack us with just zombies? You can't win. And 10 and 4, yeah, they don't have any techs or any buffs for those zombies. Okay, this is a waste of our time. Let us just take the money. I can't believe they actually attacked with this. You could have just built spears, just skeleton spears with skeleton warriors instead of the zombies, and you would have won, but... Oh, AI, alright, well, endless march. Alright, what do we have here? Springs of eternal life. In cities as old as the deserts, it is the natural order that even the finest buildings eventually crumble and fall. One of our largest temples has started to collapse, and we fear that it will soon topple, bringing down calamity. Should we reinforce it? Reinforced temple gives us a construction cost reduction for all buildings? Yes, obviously yes. What are you talking about? I don't even care what this is. To lose one of our most prestigious, most sacred temples is a risk too great to bear. We cannot risk its collapse. Use everything to reinforce it and prevent that from occurring. Good. And add Tomb King Rakhash to your faction's Lord Pool. Lovely. Lovely indeed. Oh. It's not damn it. It's Sepulchre Sentinels, not Sepulchral. Wait. There we go. Alright, yeah, just remembered misspelling you, and then the rest are fine. Marrow Legion Guards of yes, and then Solid Stone Snakes and Snacky Snakes. Good. You are currently at war with Cult of Moor, not our problem. Declare war. We're here. It's too late. It's coming. Do we have any items that we can spare for you? We really don't have a lot. Maybe the Helm of Discord? Actually, probably more useful in this army, I'll admit. Yeah, you know what, and especially if anybody attacks the Lich High Priest and might make him a little bit more useful. Let's also give him, I guess, an Obsidian Amulet, just for the extra armor. Although the barrier is nice as well. Yeah, maybe we'll go for the barrier. You cause fear but not terror. guess you can hold the golden death mask of Carnot for now. I don't think that it's too needed, but whatever. And this will probably go to other types of heroes. Alright, looks good to me. You are going to fight that Skull Island in a second. What do we have here in Nikosi Temple? Oh, actually not bad. King Wakaf, you might actually be able to enjoy this. Do we need to decorruptify the place? By the looks of it, we do not. I'm just basically ready to move on in. Alright, so we'll fight this in a second. What do we have in terms of rights available? We have the Great Incantation of Xar, not useful to us right now. Ambush, Sandstorm, I'm gonna ignore it. And we do have another tech available as well. We could spend a little bit of money to get the Proclamation of the Second Dynasty, and I think it's probably the good idea here. It's income from post-battle loot plus 10% will pay for the 2.5k that it costs to get this reasonably quickly, I'd wager, so I figure why not. Alright. And what else do we have here? Oh, right, the power-ups for the skeleton horses and skeleton horse archers. Yeah, we've been needing those because we've been using them a fair bit. Now, Necrotech check real quick. What do we have here? Genius Architect. Ooh, the plus 2 uses of Restore. A moment. What does Settra's guy do? You. Oh, it's the same type. The Genius Architect type. Yeah, so that gives him the ability to restore 5 rather than 3. Unless I'm mistaken, right? This is a plus 2. Normally it's... yeah. So in armies that have significant amounts of... like your army, for example, Wakaf, you have 5 sepulchral stalkers, meaning you're probably a good option for these guys. Oh, well, I guess we could make it right here in the Cozy Temple. I just want to make sure that somebody else, like this guy, intelligent, will just mill through you and then disband you immediately. One of the great things about the heroes for the system for heroes for the Tomb Kings is that you can easily mill through them. Just recruit, disband until you can get the traits that you like. Also, I'm really curious to see how much money we get out of the Skull Reef, so let's find out. Akor. And what do we have here? Raid the Cove. Heroic Victory, Medium Cat. Really? 3 Rotting Leviathans? Probably, in fact, no, probably about it, by far the biggest issue for our army, because we have very little in the way of anti-large. It's gonna be these guys. Instead of the usual 1 in these armies, we get 3. Fantastic. It's gonna be a fun fight. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Did he say I conquer or I concur? I couldn't quite make it out, but I suppose it doesn't matter much. The first of the islands, and it's going to be a fun one. I'm jealous for Loke here, because it was so difficult to find any of the Skull Reefs in his own campaign, but we got 2 here in close proximity, assuming there were none of the AI yoink one before we can get them. But anyway, this should be a toughie. We got 3 big boys arrayed against us, super tanky, super heavily armored with that chitinous shell that they've got. Actually, are lobster shells made of chitin or something else? What are lobster shells made of? Somebody who knows things about things, please illuminate me. But anyway, the heavy armor, thanks to the little hermit crab ship half that they've got, and the shell as well. But anyway, I'm gonna start the battle off by annoying the enemy with our Screaming Skull catapult and getting a couple of shots on the enemy Caronites, but at this distance the Screaming Skulls are the better pick here, but they're outranged by the Caronites. And by better pick I mean the further the Casket of Souls fires, the less accurate it is, so it's not really going to land too many shots on the enemy. That's alright though, not too big of a deal. That's what we've got 4 of the Nehekaran horsemen in this particular army for, especially until the rest of our army is fast enough. Though 52 move speed on a unit of skeleton warriors or Nehekar warriors is pretty darn good, you gotta admit. Those are some fast skeletons, zombie-powered gunnery mob, and being 25 move speed by comparison. And gotta love quick moving undead infantry. But anyway, the enemy army continues to approach, and we are now laying down the withering fire a little bit closer to the base of the depth guard here, and the depth guard with polearms, or not, both twin axes, under fire by both our artillery pieces, whereas one of the units of depth guard is also being fired upon, or was being fired upon, and by the Ushabti with great bow. Over in the back line, the enemy's artillery, single artillery piece, has been absolutely crushed by the Nehekaran horsemen, their fragile artillery crew torn to shreds before the extremely fast-moving depth guard have arrived and bailed them out. Here we go, the depth guard with twin axes move on in and start in their face-off against the Nehekara warriors, specifically Hawk Legion of Settra. And it looks like the enemy is not having a good time here. I'm just looking at the sort of different designs on their weapon. We got the sort of hook-bladed swords, the Kopesh-style swords as well. Nice. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to it. That depth guard unit is destroyed. The other one is melting as well. And it's time to close the distance with the rest of the units. Now, the problem currently with this army is that it has no easy way to hold ground again, or to do damage, rather, against the rotting leviathans. So, we are going to use the anti-infantry Ushabti because of their mass and their higher HP to try to hold back the rotting leviathans, who can otherwise mince infantry quite well. Our cavalry, in the meantime, has once again closed the distance and has crashed into the enemy's back line, partly to get away from the depth guard, which would tear them apart like nobody's business, probably without taking any damage at all. I mean, depth guard with polearms versus Nehekara horsemen is just a horrifically bad matchup, so we're running away from them and just crashing into the enemy's range line, while our Hawk Legion and our Syrians Legion of the Netherworld do their work with their swords. And quite well, I might add, as the enemy's main line is buckling. The rotting leviathans are still relatively okay. One is being shot by the Ushabti with great bow, and has been for a while now. And we switched our artillery to firing at one of the other units of depth guard, just so that they can't close the distance. Fortunately, it does look like the Ushabti are doing a decent job at holding these guys back. They're not really doing any damage to them themselves, or at least probably not much. If I could just select you, please game. Yeah, 1,460 damage after all this time. Really not much. But it means less infantry that these guys are mincing, so that's just fine. And speaking of infantry and cavalry, our other units are still very much in the fight. Of course, most of the enemy depth guard have at this point been torn apart by our skeletons. They're spooky, they're scary, and they're darn effective here. Certainly more than some deckhand mobs. Alright, it looks like the rotting leviathans are down at half HP, 40% HP, and 70% HP apiece. That one last unit of depth guards still dodging all of our artillery fire. The enemy vampire fleet admiral is attempting to close the distance with our Lich High Priest, but fortunately, while we will take a pistol shot or two to the back, the amount means that we can get away at any time. Ushabti still firing away at that rotting leviathan. And it looks like this one at last will be brought down. I could also pop in a Bone Giant in this army. I'll think about it. I still think Necrosphinx is probably the way to go, because it can anchor the line in a way that the Bone Giant wouldn't be able to, and it would also be able to keep up with the Nehekara warriors. Anyway, first of the rotting leviathans, let last drops below 1,000 HP, and a couple more shots will bring it down. Did manage to rack up a solid 66 Nehekara warrior kills, but that's not quite enough. With the fall of the enemy lord and the fall of the first rotting leviathan, the others begin melting away. And they will fall so much quicker. On the bright side, the strategy worked out. Our Nehekara warriors and our units of Ushabti with their Kopeshes as well are looking pretty good together. This may not be an infantry unit, but they serve their purpose for their debut, and I'm sure they will have plenty of infantry to mince in future battles. Alright, there we go. A very nice fight, but we certainly had a problem in dealing with the rotting leviathans there. They are very, very tanky, and this army doesn't really have any kind of a recourse, any kind of a real easy way to deal with them. The Ushabti with Great Bow spent basically the entire battle firing at one of them, and while they did do damage, it certainly wasn't enough to bring a single one of them down in anything resembling a quick fashion. It might behoove us to pop a Necrosphinx in this army. Even one will do, just to make sure that we can more easily deal with big boys when they come around. We could also pop a Tomb Prince in here, and I was considering doing so for the purpose of protecting the Lich Priest, but either way. I'd love to heal up, but 3.3k is not something we can say no to as Tomb King, so we're not gonna say no. And 24k damage for the Osirian's Legion of the Netherworld, unsurprising, because they always do very well. Alright, Endless March. And let's see, is it 8k, is it 10k, is it 12k, how many k? It's 10k, alright. And a Scepter of Stability, sure, I guess. Alright, well, it ain't 20k, but it's better than nothing. Now, what isn't better than nothing is the fact that we're severely damaged, and if we run into another similar type of situation where there's a million... go here. Where there's a million rotting leviathans, we'll need help. So we're going to go into Carrion Nest, into our own territory. We'll spend a turn healing and then go for the other island afterwards. Why not? Not a big deal. Obviously very much worth it. Now, Settra, you're kind of stuck in terms of where you have to go, so you're going to... I guess you could spend one more turn here decorruptifying this. Wait, how much further can you travel like this? Oh, fairly significantly. Yeah, with one more turn, you'll decorruptify the place completely. You know what? Just go and decorruptify it then. Here we will want to at least well, I was about to say temporarily build the growth place, but it isn't actually as needed as it looks. Build the obelisk for now until the place is maxed out, and these little tiny territories aren't super significant, but they're probably good places to build things like the Scorpion building and the statue building. Certainly a thought. No, they're also not the worst place to build just a... Here we went for the treasure tomb. This is also a good place for a treasure tomb. It's got a lot of adjacency. Adjacency bonus. Probably what we'll do then. Alright, anyway. Panet, you are still besieging. You're going to attack in a second, but I'd like to take a look at what else we've got going on. Walkoff, you're going to attack in a second as well. I guess it's a very fighty turn this time around. You, sir. Up here to scout, and then Prince Scout is also going to go scout. We found these guys who we will inevitably have to fight. I see these lizards are certainly recruiting. And the first of the elves, I did want to get a trade agreement going with them. So Iltharion, we'll do that. I assume you're not. I mean, you're holding Badlands territories, but just to double check, you're not holding any. Yeah. I just wanted to check if he was holding any landmark locations, because Settra won't have that. We'll do the trade agreement for now, and hopefully we can subjugate the elves by trading them a territory somewhere in the Badlands, rather than, you know, anything else. Like, these swamps are useless to us, but these guys might enjoy them. Let the elves live in their swamp, and, yeah. But I'm still thinking that Settra won't have any allies, we can only subjugate, but anyway. I guess you're kind of stuck. Okay, stay here because we need to keep an eye on the armies. I'd actually like to put you here in Oasis of Blood. You know what? Go right to the edge of the territory because you can still provide public order bonuses. Yeah, +5 control is not too bad. That's why we kept this guy around on foot or just running around rather than the other thing. Anyway, Panet, you're going to attack, and okay, I'm going to forget you, so I'm going to start with you, Walkoff. Now let's cut down some orcs, shall we? Pyrrhic victory, medium casualties, what I like to see. Go. Alright, we march indeed, some of us faster than others, but fortunately, half of our army is Vanguard deployable. There we go, immediately the Sepulchral Stalkers deploying right in front of the enemy army, get a nice volley of shotgun blasts to the enemy faces, while we begin an exchange of fire in between the enemy Goblin Archers, Night Goblin Archers to be more specific, and the Nehikaran Skeleton Horse Archers, wow, okay, close enough. Looks like some of the enemy squig herds have closed the distance, but, well, that's not going to go so well being large units. The halberds of the Spokal Stalkers will tear them to shreds. The same thing going on here as we intersperse the Spokal Stalkers amongst the lines of Tomb Guard, and the unit of Boar Boys completely fails in its charge. Between the halberds and the Tomb Guard holding the line, I imagine those Boar Boys won't be long for this world. Another unit of Boar Boys and Orc Boys heads on in onto the right flank, but we do have a unit of Spokal Stalkers already and waiting there, and have already gotten those Orc Boys down to half HP with their shotgun blast. The Mountain Power has shifted to about 80% in our favor, and we're now working on mincing those Goblin Archers. And the orcs as well, but funnily enough, generally the gobos one must be more wary of than the orcs, especially because of this. The spinning loons have been released, and there we go. Look at that damage come in on our line of Tomb Guards, significantly more than the damage dealt by the Biggins and the other orc units. That's a spinning loons for you. On the bright side, though, the enemy is having a pretty bad time of it. They have been overrun by snakes, and the relentless march of the Tomb Guard moving forward will sort of crush them under bony heel. And there we go. Looks like, with the exception of the Black Orc Big Boss, who is still somehow in the fight, but I'd wager won't be for long. And the enemy army is just about done. And there we go. With that, the enemy army shatters. Still about half HP to their units, but especially until you've got higher veterancy and stuff, orky units have a tendency to be somewhat low in leadership, or greenskin units rather. And, well, we take advantage of that. And yeah, I definitely want to build an anti-leadership army as well. They can be pretty fun. It's always difficult to get one on the level of Drykas, perhaps, but between a Lore of Death mage and the Sepulchrex, and we should be able to do a pretty good job. But anyway, fun fight. Alright, there we go. Another very nice fight for King Wakaf, because the army composition has certainly been really working for me, and is pretty devastatingly effective so far. Just more praise for my Spokal Stalkers. Good reason why I love them so much, and that particular battle was a pretty good, I think, showcase of why they were performing like a dozen different, well, not a dozen, but like half a dozen different roles at once, alright? Bolstering the line as a monstrous infantry, or anchoring the line as monstrous infantry to prevent enemies from charging, using their anti-large halberds to fight in melee against the enemy, Boar Boys, using their shotgun blasts to fight the enemy range in a range shootout, or otherwise using the shotgun blasts to fire into the backs of the enemy, charging enemies and rear charging them as well. It's all really nice, and of course all that stalking and such that they do. Beautiful. And the damage clearly there, the solid stone snakes winning the day with 39,000 damage. Lovely. Anyway, we are going to occupy the place. Alright, and we will not collect the income, at least not for now, but quickly build up the obelisk and the growth building, the mortuary house. Huh. Actually, if we're moving through this territory, I wonder if... maybe. I was wondering whether it might be a good idea to build a couple of these instead for the campaign movement range. You can definitely reach the Golden Skull in one bound. Oh, actually, you might not be able to. Kind of unclear. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference anyway. Alright, just do that. Whatever, all good. Also, Wakaf, you've leveled up. We were going through Canopic Jar Hoarder, and I guess that still has to be the case. We will want to level up the Skeleton Horse Archers and Solid Stone Snakes, though. Let's just see here. Elite Cavalryman does increase their missile strength as well. That is nice, but we need those jars. Always gotta have the jars. And then what about the Lich Priest? You, one more into jars, and then finally one into Jeff's Incantation of Cursed Blades. What do we have? Okay, wait, we'll do the buildings after. The Genius Architect, alright, I wanted to pop you in here immediately. Like so. Starting at level 5, meaning you can go for 3 points into Canopic Jar Hoarder and the one critical point into Restore, so that you can immediately pop Restore on all of the 5 constructs that you have in this army. Perfection. And that completes the army effectively, assuming we don't want to replace any of these guys with any kind of elite variant that we shall see, depending on how the army proceeds in the future. We can deal with large foes, we can deal with infantry. Artillery is going to be kind of an issue. We don't have any... Oh, we don't have Siege Attacker here, do we? That's a problem. You can't get Siege Attacker. The Necrotech's going to make it 20 out of 20. We could replace one of these guys with a monstrous unit, but I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe a couple of Bone Giants to replace these Skeleton Horse Archers, but I kind of like them in their current state. We'll see, we'll see. Maybe adjustments, maybe not adjustments. Panacher, well, I guess we could just jump straight into the next fight, or we could do a little building. Let's do the building first. So, Great Pyramid of Settra, we have one more turn, so we want to make the Ruinous Citadel here to match the Royal Burial Chamber. We already have the... Alright, damaged Necrosphinx statue here, like so. And then we have a room for one more in Khemri itself, which is not going to be the Restored Hekaran Citadel, but the Eternal Sentinels. Or I guess we could build that in the other place and then build this here, just so that we can recruit every single unit in the roster in Khemri. Which I do like the idea of, I will admit. I will continue thinking about it, as one does. Not like the Phoenix thing, well, Sphinx thing will go to waste. Anyway, let's build up the 2 crumbling temples here. Like so. I believe Black Pyramid will go up to the next level, and we still have the militia restored. Oh, you can start collecting income again. Oh, I should have switched to construction reduction for that. But oh well, not a big deal. I mean, I guess we could... it's only 10%. We will build some stuff here next turn. Probably some advanced structures as well. Wouldn't go amiss. City of Kings, we could upgrade you, and we could upgrade the Ancient Pyramidion. Faded Ancient Pyramid... Whatever. Yeah, go for it. Oh, but then this thing will need to be replaced. Probably here, but then we wouldn't be able to... Huh. Maybe we could make a Great Obelisk of Khemri, one where we... have all the military stuff. Anyway, the Land of the Dead, what do we have here? I don't want to look at that anymore. Mausoleum, most definitely. Keep upgrading the green buildings until we take them out. Although, we could already start moving through Pyramidions here if we need to. For the stoneworks. You know what? Maybe we'll start building one in the Springs of Eternal Life to start off with, and then we'll see about the others. Cracked Lands, what are we missing? We have one more turn until we get the Black Tower of Arcan up and running, at which point we can start building up this Pyramidion. What is this? Oh, Oasis of Blood. You're fine. Seja Temple, you're one of the new places, so you're fine as you are currently. And Palace of Dusk, you are going to get this, but otherwise you're fine. There we go. Have a little bit of money remaining. We won't next turn because there's other stuff that we will need to build up, but, you know. You know what, build up the statue as well. I figure even if we get... even if we get rid of some of these buildings, that one will stay, as we need access to Shabti in that particular territory. We'll also make the Road of Kings a military territory as well, I'd wager, because it's only got 2 settlements, so, you know. Anyway, and what else do we have? Diplomacy. Guardians of the Valley. Look, I'd love to ally with you, but we can't have you holding a landmark, and thus we're going to have to defeat you, and I think nobody else wants to do anything, not that we were intending to. Out of curiosity, minus 171, not that I was intending to subjugate Manny here. Tomb Kings and Vamps generally don't get along that well. Otherwise, I believe we're good to end the turn. Wait, actually, there is one other thing I wanted to do. King Minchaos, or Minchaos, I don't know. I think it's Minchaos. You are going to be replaced by... Wait. Rakash starts at level 1, but if we... A moment... But if we don't replace, if we recruit directly, he starts at level 5. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's annoying. Huh. So, unless... that is not great. We could... I mean, you've been recruiting for what, 2 turns? We could cancel the recruit... Only 1 turn has been wasted. You know, maybe the 1 wasted turn is not so bad. I'd rather get the tier 5 up and running. Yeah, you know what? Cancel these guys. It's not a big deal. We'll delete you for now. We'll replace you with the level 5 Rakash because he's a dynasty. A lord. And just out of curiosity, income from all buildings faction-wide? Yeah, that's nice. What else do we have here? Weapon strength for your army. Casualties, income, magic items, enemy speed reduction. Plunderer of the East gives us immunity to mountain attrition. Speed for all army. Oh, more speed. Yes, please. This gives us income from all buildings in local province, which actually, as a recruiter lord, that's pretty solid. Not that I intend you to be a recruiter lord specifically. And you have income from sacking settlements. All right, some solid generic whatever stuff. Oh, income from all buildings minus 10. Interesting. So it just counteracts this once you move out. I guess in the early game you use it as a recruiter, and then once you push him out as an army. Makes sense. Anyway, passage to the Soul Realm. And it'll be a while before we get Plunderer to the east, so we may as well get more canopic jars, like so. Now, you, unfortunately, are going to have to redo what you did once again. We only wasted 1 turn, so it's not a big deal. Get the Tomb Bark and the Hyro Titan, and then get the Golden Host of Mahrak up and running. Lovely. More armies to come, so all good. And the public order is going to be helpful everywhere. Otherwise, we will probably delete you, but I'm going to build you up because it may be a while until we do. So there we go. And just out of curiosity... Oh, but it's only by 1. I was going to say Bone Giant capacity might be nice relatively early, but I guess we're okay. Keep building the Proclamation of the Second Dynasty. And skip, and end the turn. Wait, I lied. Why did I end the turn? No, I almost forgot. Ash Crossing, go. Alrighty, here we go. In theory, this is a pretty darn small garrison, but in practice, 6 units of Graveguard and 2 units of Crypt Ghouls are a fairly decent number to hold back a tide of Skeleton Spears. Most likely we're going to have to sacrifice a fair few Skeleton Spears, but who knows? Maybe we will finally get our first level of Realm of Souls up and running. It's starting to feel more and more like a useless ability when you can never get it off, I guess. But oh well. Here we go, gonna start the battle. Our ram, I'm sure, has reached the enemy gate, and our towers have disgorged their cargo of skeleton warriors to face off against the enemy halberds and, well, all sorts of Graveguard. Of course, these skeletons have no chance of defeating the Graveguard, especially without, building them to actually be fighty. But what we can do is pump them up a little bit with a little bit of that Juff's Incantation of Cursed Blades, making the enemy bleed a little bit and wasting their time. We made our way through the ram, using the ram through the gate. And now we'll wait to find the opportune moment to drop the bombs from the flock of Joff. I think there's also research that will allow us to drop a second set as well. Gonna have to remember to double check where that is. Anyway, looks like the enemy has brought the bats to play and help out the Graveguard, though I think, frankly, this is a waste of the bats. The Graveguard should be able to handle the Skeleton Warriors just fine. And the bats are just going to get themselves killed up there. We are also, however, going to have to rely on dishing out range damage rather than melee damage here. The skeletons, as usual, are there to hold the line. So instead, we positioned all of our units of skeleton archers, and some of our skeleton archer chariots, so that they can fire over this part of the wall and into the enemy that's blobbing up here. And blobbing going pretty nicely as well. Enemy has decided to close the distance with some of their bats attacking the flock of Joff, but we immediately mob them with all of our other carrion. And that unit of bats is quickly destroyed. Seems like we're having a fairly difficult time getting through this gate, however, but it's about what we expected, considering we have no real way to easily do damage in this army. All good, however. If this army can take this settlement in the same way that it's taken the others, it will have saved Settra a lot of time. And he's certainly got bigger fish to fry than random little, minor settlements. Anyway, gonna buff up the units with a Neru's Incantation of Protection. 44 physical resistance for 30 seconds, I believe, is fairly decent. Allow our skeletons to hold ground a little bit, and there we go. We're gonna drop the bombs. It will clip our own units, of course, but we wanted to do that while we had the Neru's Incantation up and running, and because of the flame resistance, as I believe this is a flame attack. Bombardment? Oh, it's not, wait. It's physical? Huh, but it's so fiery, and it's a fire unit. Maybe it's just lying. Well, if it's actually physical, then we'd be using the 44% reduction from the Nerus, so either way, I'm pretty sure it helps out. Anyway, and now that the bombs have been dropped, the Flock of Joff will drop down on some of those Graveguard. Of course, Carrion and the Flock of Joff included are pretty darn fragile, so they quickly lose about 30% of their HP, despite the fact that there are very few Graveguard here, and a lot of them are fighting the skeletons. But all good. Eventually, we'll be able to buff up Carrion pretty significantly. I believe there's a tech and some buffs that'll allow them to get like an additional plus 20 or something armor-piercing weapon damage, which will make them, if fragile, at the very least, very much damage dealers. Otherwise, it looks like our skeleton archers have nearly run out of ammunition. Gotta remember that these guys have very little armor piercing on them, only 6, so they're having a little bit of a tough time and breaking down all those Graveguard. And that's slowly but surely. They're losing units, we're losing units. This little skeleton fella is fighting headless. But fighting nonetheless. Was fighting nonetheless. Not so much anymore. Alrighty, and how's that balance of power looking? About 90% in our favor, and hey, we got our first level of the Realm of Souls. Only 2 to go, but, somehow I have my doubts. Although, with the skeleton archers out of ammunition, we have significantly reduced our damage capabilities here now, so these skeletons are going to have to do more work. And of course, the chariots do still have their ammunition, so they're still doing their thing. Alright, sorry about the wonky camera work. It's always a little bit wonky on top of the walls. Can never get quite to the right angle here. Yeah, they're just slightly too high or slightly too low. That's not bad, but anyway, the battle continues. Not much to say about this tactically anymore. The skeleton archers have run out of ammunition, though, and so we're just going to send them up the ladders. Not so much because we expect them to do really any damage in melee. We just expect them to die if we can get to the third realm of souls and summon the Ushabti. I think that'll help. Our chariots are, unfortunately, at least some of them are starting to run out of ammunition as well, and will probably soon be time to start trying to push some of them through the enemy gate. Could have probably gone around the enemy settlement and maybe moved through another gate as well, but the chariots do take a very long time to break those down. I wonder how quick the Flock of Joff would have been able to do that, as in if we sent the Flock of Joff around to help with a gate, or maybe even a regular carrion unit, because they're significantly smaller and thus more of them would be able to attack a gate at the same time. I gotta give that a try. I've never tried having carrion attack yet. We shall see. Anyway, it looks like the wall, if not quite completely cleared, is very nearly so, and the enemy is certainly starting to run out of units. There is still a pretty much full HP vampire up here, but the numbers of zombies and mostly Graveguard, but skeletons are dwindling. We do also have 2, somewhat healthy units of, 3, but somewhat units of healthy carrion flying up above. Hovering, I should say. And while we could drop them in, and we will eventually, we gotta wait until we commit them, because they're so fragile and they're liable to get stuck and heavily damaged. Ooh, and we've reached the second Realm of Souls. Such a rarity. I think we've maybe reached the Realm of Souls level 2 like once or twice throughout the campaign so far. But anyway, with the balance of power just a sliver in the enemy's favor, our chariots have made their way forward. These are ranged chariots, but they'll work in melee in a pinch, and we'll send the carrion down to help out and dish the damage out as well, both around the gate and up on top of the wall. I'm sure we'll lose a few carrion, but the enemy is very, very light on troops, being overwhelmed, and it looks like the battle is just about done. We're going to be ignoring the enemy vampiress because it's kind of a waste to... I mean, I'm not even sure what we could use to kill her here. Maybe surround her with carrion? I'm not sure that we have enough upgrades to give him enough armor piercing damage to quickly be able to deal, but anyway, what we can do is kill every single other thing here, and that will force the vampire to begin melting away like so. There we go. With that, the last of the enemy units, a unit of Graveguard, melts, and the vampire begins to melt as well. I wonder how many skeleton units we lost after this. We're gonna find out in a second. But hey, they serve their purpose, and these skeleton units are rebuildable next turn. Same concept as using piles of Skaven slaves, really. You send them in, and if they die, you just build a bunch more over the next turn. Anyway, the vampire gets mobbed by a giant pile of carrion, melts away, and gives the battle to us. Alright, there we go. The basic trash units still managed to carry the day, no problem. The Flock of Jaff did take a fair bit of damage, but they're pretty darn fragile, so that shouldn't be surprising. And a little bit of work out of our other 2 carrying units in this army as well. Good for them. 2 units of basic skellies lost, but we'll rebuild them pretty much instantly. So we'll occupy the place. We will continue not collecting the income. We can immediately build the mastaba here. Then we will... Oh, I guess building will take us out of the Great Dynasty stand, so no decorruptification, but I guess we'll do it at the Sphinx of Fa instead. We can recruit 3 units, meaning 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, looks good to me. Well, actually, technically we can recruit 4, so why not? Get another one. Delete. And recruit. Huh, wait. If we collect income... It'll become 4, right? Yeah, okay, but we only need 3 right now, so we should be okay. You have Canopic Jar Hoarder maxed out. Let's grab Arcane Conduit. We're looking to go to 5th Generation Priest. We don't know what exactly we're doing in this army because it's sort of a generic force, but that's fine. We'll probably just have a mix of different units. Infantry, cavalry, chariots, constructs. We'll get artillery, just a little bit of everything. Oh, might as well also name a couple of these carrions. So, Carrion, my wayward sons. Hey, I'm surprised the whole thing fits. I think the suggestion was just my wayward sons, but this kind of amuses me as well. Anyway, and the last visages, like so. Alright, looks good to me, and then there's nothing else in this army that I'm sure that we'll want to name, so just stay as you are. Oh! Ash Crossing is a major port. Oh, that's lovely. More tomb bark capacity. We need at least 1 with pretty much every army, because, you know, support units and all that. So that's pretty good. Alright, now I believe we're good to end the turn. Wait, do we need to flip through any more of these? Wait, 4 out of 4. We have 4? How do we have 4 Tomb Princes? We have 2 in Settra's army. We have 1 in... Wait. We have 2 in Settra's army. We have 1 scouting. Oh, and we have 2 scouting in. And never mind, I'm stupid. Just everybody relax. Alright, Creator, Proclamation of the Second Dynasty, there we go. The income from post-battle loot will be nice. Don't really care about the construction for cavalry and chariot buildings because it's pretty insignificant. Rinderkin, Warherd. Aren't these guys supposed to appear right beside... I don't see them. They were supposed to appear right beside of your lord. Out of the forests they emerge. I hope that's not near us. Anyway, what was I saying? Where are they? Can we see them? Where's Beastmen? No, we don't. Okay, so they're not in our territory, I guess. Great Incantation of Geheb unlocked, giving us the 20 Canopic Jars per turn, growth construction time, and guess we gotta take it, perform right. 3,000 gold, it's expensive, but do it. It must be done. For the glory of Settra, and there we go. And, looks like King Rama, he's got the Venom Knights of Asaph, ooh, and a Casket of Souls. I imagine we can't capture Caskets of Souls because that would be incredible, but probably not. That's probably a good opportunity to wipe out. Is this the leader of this? King Ramatep the Visionary, yeah. We'll wipe out their main army and then head to grab Qatar real quick, then maybe peace out with them, at least temporarily, leaving the Charnel Valley to them. Or maybe even take one of the territories of the Charnel Valley and then trade it back to them, like the workshop of the Necrotects for subjugation. Although, I do wonder if there are any landmarks here. And we might want to send a hero, a scout, through their territories, but we don't have capacity. It's actually kind of critical that we do this right now. Maybe Prince Scout. You were going to go primarily find the other elves, but we can leave Tutmos to do it. I mean, I guess we could delete either one of them, because we have capacity for both. You're probably going to be able to reach these guys a little bit faster. I guess we don't need to have 2 scouts moving up there. Yeah. Alright, so that's what we'll do. As long as we have a wise... Okay, we do have a wise one. Alright, so, Tutmos. Sorry about this fella. That was your whole purpose in life, disband. Then we will use a Lich Priest that is wise to get more canopic jars and, I don't know, specialists, just in case you need to wound somebody. I don't see it happening, but you never know. Oh, corruption reduction. Wait, do we have any corruption left here? No, we're fine. So there's no need for it. Just go for specialist. Wait, wound is, oh, additional success chance? Yeah, alright, so go for wound. Lovely, and then you're going to head down here and then hopefully figure that thing out. You, Settra, will walk into the Palace of Dusk. If these guys occupy the Sepulchre of the Heavens, we'll have you immediately kill them. They have 2 caskets? Maybe delete the skeleton spears just in case. I'd be tempted to auto-resolve them just in case you can steal caskets. Maybe I steal 1 artillery piece after thousands upon thousands of hours in the game, and now I'm suddenly, oh, we're gonna get another artillery piece. Yeah, okay, Ruinous, come on, man. Anyway, we could actually increase our capacity for some of our heroes further if we wanted to. It might be a decent time to do it. Let's figure a few things out before we do anything else. So first of all, let's do... Oh, right, the Bone Giants. Let's level everybody up. I want to make sure that we don't have any Canopic Jar Hoarders missing anywhere. So you're good, Oh, we need to check the Necrotects. That's what I was thinking. Can figure out what I was missing, and that was the Necrotech thing. Anyway, you're going to grab Master Builder, and then keep moving until you can grab one of these. You, Settra, have also leveled up by 1 point. You have most of what you need for casting, and come from sacking. You're not doing that yet, because it's not worth our time. Maybe it's time to just keep going through the red line until we get Resurrect. And get that additional healing. It is very much needed, and if he has a decent line of Tomb Guard, it will be of use. I take it we can't recruit Tomb Guard in 1 turn? No, it takes 4 via global recruitment, so that's not going to happen. Keep the Mortiferous Sanctuary here, and I guess just at least temporarily build the Mortuary House, although it'll eventually be replaced. How many turns do we have that? Okay, we have 9 turns of construction costs for all buildings. We should make use of that as much as possible while we can. Yes. Anyway, build another of that Mortuary Sanctums, and we'll probably need to swap one of these out in order to build these stoneworks here, which I guess is going to be this growth building. Although it would be nice to get Khemri to tier 5, it'll only unlock a single slot, which is, I guess, not as big of a deal, so yeah, we'll forgo it. We could always get faction-wide growth rate to counteract what we're missing. Anyway, here, and we can build up both of the Mortuary Sanctums, like so and like so. And I guess similarly, oh, this will actually unlock 2 slots. How's the Public Order? Alright, so I guess we'll get rid of 1 Public Order building and then 1 growth building to be replaced with stonework structures. And then we will need an additional thing here, which I guess means another... I'm gonna say Public Order building. This will actually take us below... -8, right? Yeah. Do we currently have any bonus Public Order going here? Oh, I didn't realize we had a negative growth thing still. Ugh. Nice we have this positive growth thing. Alright, lose the public order and just hope that we can deal with it. And we'll counteract it with stoneworks. And Black Tower of Arcan, yes, available Tomb City at last. And now we can start upgrading you, isn't it lovely? Land of the Dead, we can upgrade the Mortiferous Sanctuaries and all of these, and then delete them when needed as needed. We are able to start building the Fated Pyramidion here, and the same thing there as well, once we're good. What did I miss? Oh, yeah, we'll build that. Black Pyramid of Settra, -9, not for long. Oh, we have the corruption, +15. Huh, I don't think we have an easy way to decorruptify the place now that I think about it. We don't actually have a anti-corruption specific building. Our advanced military structures, with the exception of the Naru and the Hekaran Citadel, all will do a -1 corruption. But I think we don't actually have any other anti... Oh, actually, we do. I lied. The Mortiferous Sanctuary, but it's only -6. And it's not going to be enough. It'll max itself out. Go figure. There's no point then. Alright, well, I guess that's what we'll just deal with. You can, I guess, build another... what do we want? Let's build a Hyro Titan statue here. And I guess we'll want to start moving through the Fated Pyramidion. This thing's going to take so long to grow to tier 5. We're probably better off just making use of this to build one of these. Let's do that. Sounds good to me. Qatari Desert, yes to Sepulchre. Lower Ash River, yes to the Regnant Catacombs, and now we're out of money. Go figure. I did say we were going to be out of money this turn, so there we are. Alright, Necrotects. Another Genius Architect, which is great. I'd love to mill through some of these guys. Alright, yeah, I think we'll unlock another Necrotect. We have Apprenticeship of Pehenna. We'll do you. Also plus recruit ranks as well. That's nice. I'd want to let a few of the canopic jars go in favor of a few more of the Necrotect structures. The Necrotect heroes anyway. Panat, you need to proceed to Sphinx of Fa. I see these guys are recruiting some stuff. Hopefully not enough to be of concern to us. You cannot go into Great Dynasty stance, just regular stance. Let's grab this real quick. We are now right beside the Tide of Defilement as well. And by the looks of it, we're going to have to fight this, which, fair enough. We'll fight in a second. Actually, I lied. We'll fight this right now, because I'm going to forget. I have a tendency. Alrighty, agreed indeed. Here we go, another round for Panat, which isn't a bad thing, I think. A, we do need him to actually level up, and B, funnily enough, despite the sort of early game unit being Skeleton Warriors and Skeleton Archers, we haven't really been using them all that much throughout the course of the campaign, so, you know, I may as well use them here. Now, we've deployed all of our infantry units, missile and melee alike, all the way as far back from the enemy as we can, so that we can annoy said enemy with the little bit of trickle damage coming in from our Skeleton Archer chariots. Well, they're up to 79 missile strength now, it's not so bad. And we'll see how well they can work here. What's the armor piercing on this? 17, not great admittedly, so they'll probably take a long time to deal with any of the Grave Guard, but at the very least the doggos shouldn't be of any kind of issue. Especially not being crazy buffed up here as they are. Alright, looks like the dogs are going to mill around. Are they able to catch us? They're at 95 speed, so if they ran after the chariots, they would be able to catch them. I'm just not sure that there is a good reason to attempt it, because the chariots have enough melee damage to quickly overwhelm and destroy, and they're relatively fragile dire doggos. In the meantime, on the other side, on the right flank, the Feldbats have given chase to the other blob of chariots, who will simply lead them through the ranks of the skeleton warriors towards our other units. Either the enemy keeps firing, or following, or we keep firing. And there, the lines in the formation there, they almost look like writing. Anyway, the Feldbats rather have landed, whether it be upon the skeleton archers or the skeleton chariots, archer chariots below. I suppose it doesn't matter over much, as the fragile bats will be overwhelmed by piles of skeletons. The rest of the enemy army, or at least the majority of the enemy army, is still on the approach. Another unit of dogs has been destroyed, and with the fall of the bats and the dogs alike, the enemy has now lost all of its fast movers, which means we have a pretty major advantage. Okay, there was one more unit of doggos, but we will have a major advantage shortly. I'm just going to close the distance with the other dogs with the chariots. as well as one of our unit of carrion, just to speed up their destruction so that they cannot chase those units off, while our other chariots continue to annoy whatever enemies they can with a little bit of that range fire. Though frankly it does so little damage, it's probably a waste of time against blobs of units, especially shielded units like this, and it's a much better idea to just, send them flying. There we go. Solid little charge. Enemy formation is disrupted. We're going to just move past them and into whatever other units we can find with our chariots. As usual, Joff's incantation of Cursed Blades comes down to allow bleed for our units. I think there's a unit of skeleton, I want to say spears, that special, I think it's a Zandri Black Shields that give bleed on them already, which means you wouldn't need the Joff's incantation. Or might be looking to use those in a sort of contact effect type army. We shall see. Anyway, the chariots are continuing to cause havoc to some of the enemy units, but at the very least keeping them peeled away from the skeletons, which are, again, super fragile in this particular army, but hey, they're holding ground, and who knows, they might even get to at least the first level of the Realm of Souls this time around. All in the name of leveling Panet. Alright, and over in the background, the chariots have split off from each other a little bit, and finally it's time to get a few nice little charges into the back lines of enemies. There we go, that's one. Okay, these guys are probably going to be in the way a little bit, but we should be able to send at least a few of those graveyards still flying. There we go. Oh, I wonder, does this count as attacked in... it says attacked in flank and attacked in rear. Interesting. So, disrupting the formation does work against the enemy, but also at least slightly works against us by causing us additional morale shocks. Anyway, going to pop off a Tomb Swarm over on the left flank, as the enemy has the biggest concentration of Graveguard there, mobbing the enemy Necromancer with our piles of carrion, while it looks like our chariots have destroyed one unit and are well on the way to probably destroying another, even with this being a unit of Graveguard. Since we're using our most basic units here, the battle is admittedly taking a while, but, well, all the undead endlessly fighting each other does feel appropriate. That said, the battle probably won't last too much longer, especially now that we have the first level of the Realm of Souls up and running to counteract the somewhat, well, decent damage we've taken, at least on some units. Ooh, and there we go, the Graveguard's still hitting us back pretty hard as the Doom Racers crash into them and lose about half of their HP as they do. Armor piercing, anti-large, all that. Not so great for the little chariots, but that's alright. Out here, the enemy Necromancer, having been mobbed by the flock of Joff and one of these small unit of carrion, oh, so tiny by comparison, has been killed off, and it looks like with the fall of the Necromancer, the rest of his army begins to melt as well. The zombies in a fight with some carrion, and the zombies are, well, probably not buffed up enough here to do any kind of real damage to the carrion. Lack of armor aside, they have pretty solid melee defense at 46, similar to Felbats. So they should be able to hold the ground against zombies at least. Like with most of our units, we can also pop a bleed on the carrion to make them do more damage using Joff's incantation of Cursed Blade. Certainly something to think about, if we have the Joff's incantation to spare. Not that we need it again in this particular battle, as with that the last of the Graveguard melts, and the battle is once again Panet's. Alright, perfect. Well done once again to Panet, who keeps using the trash here, though we will shortly move him back to Khemri to get him a proper army, so that he can... I mean, we don't really have any spare armies to sort of travel around with just basic units right now. Eventually, but not now. Anyway, Sphinx of Fa, we'll delete you, and we will immediately build... Okay, we'll go for the Worship of a Construction Reduction, and then we will go for the Obelisk as well. And we will also join you all together. Don't care about the loss of veterancy. Get back the... Can build some Hekar Warriors if you want to. Frankly, we need the line holders more than anything else, so I think we'll just keep on going with the spears here. Alright, looks good to me, at least for now. Panat, you've leveled up again. Time to start moving through 5th gen Priest. It's not the most useful, well, in the late game it'll be effectively useless, but for now, every little bit of research is going to count. It all adds up. Hakor, you are going to sit here for a turn. Yeah, 1 turn should be sufficient, so sit here, heal, and then go after the second Skull Island. Settra's in a good position. King Wakaf, you have taken the first of the... oh, right. Taken the first of increased mobility, please. Of the orcs out here, you'll proceed to the Golden Skull next. On the road to Zandri. And we need to build this... oh, we don't really have the money for it. Alright, fine, fair enough. We've moved Hakor, Prince Psamtik. You're fine where you are. Keep an eye on things and scout. You found Eltharion, you've got more things to find.
Prince Eltharion.
I wonder if he'll survive. How are you doing, by the way? You have 4 settlements, strength rank 245. Not great, but, you know, hopefully he'll survive. Alright, I guess we end the turn then. Moment of truth, see whether these guys take the Sepulchre of the Heavens. They better not raise it. Although I suppose if they do, we can just pop off a Great Incantation of Tra in 5 turns and get it up to tier 3 immediately. Though it's probably better used on places with, like, a pyramid, like a Numos here, so that we can immediately build it up. And frankly, yeah, that's probably what we're going to save it for regardless, so there it is. How many territories do you have, little tiny Nurglite faction here? 3. I don't like us too much. And eventually we'll probably declare warness. We'll build a defensive structure at the Sphinx of Fa just in case they tried going this way. It's a distinct possibility. Who are the ogres at war with? The Tide of Defilement and... actually friendly, ironically, with the other Nurglite faction nearby. Fair enough. Skip, 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 and turn. Apprenticeship of Pahenna, get us another necrotech capacity. Lovely. Then we have... you did occupied. Sorry, fella, you're about to die. We can't have you... Really? What the heck? Huh. What is this? They have a Tra's necrotech right there. I wonder if they abandoned Qatar in order to immediately re-recruit it up at tier 3? Is that what's happening here? That's weird. And oh man, Manny's already back. I don't really have the time to fight these guys then. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Hopefully we can use Panat to defend. Actually, speaking of Panat and this location, you will need to immediately upgrade the Mastaba here and also upgrade you. These things will provide at least some defenses should we desire them. The Ushabti is probably the better pick because of the 2 Ushabti that you get. Certainly better than 1 Tomb Guard and 1 Skeleton Archer. 2 Spokal Stalkers isn't too bad either. On the defensive. What do you get? Carrion, nothing, and... yeah, alright, fine. Just don't build anything. Panat. I guess Ash Crossing will be safe for Manny, but Qatari Desert very much not. I was hoping to push you back to Khemri considering how close you are, though. I will consider it. What I will also consider is the necrotech that we've been looking for. Okay, not you, not you, not you. Damn, alright, so we'll recruit you and then we'll disband you. Gotta get the one that buffs speed for these speedy little Nehekaran warriors here. And though I do like this Nehekaran Ingenuity one, we can combine Blood Roar with... wait, are we able to... you've reached rank 4. Does that mean that we have access to Sepulchrex? We do. Oh, we only get 1 Sepulchrex? Alright, fair enough. This thing has a Dread of the Dead Gods, leadership minus 25, so we can combine that with a necrotech that buffs that with Blood Roar, which should be a pretty interesting thing. And ooh, we do have more more Hyro Titan capacity as well. All right, can't wait to get a few of them on field. It'll happen soon. Ooh, minus 11 public order here. Yeah, we'll fix it soon. It's going to be probably always relatively negative public order due to the corruption, which we can't do too much about yet. Worship of Asaf doesn't do anywhere near enough anti-corruption, although if we double up the effectiveness of our commandments, that eventually might change, so we shall see. Anyway, Wakaf, you are going to go to the Golden Skull here. And are you able to auto-resolve this? What do we have here? Pyrrhic against this, and half our army will die. Alright, well... oh, it's a minor set... no, it's just a field battle. Alright, we'll just deal with you in a second. I might just manually fight that because I don't think it's going to be an interesting enough fight to be a cinematic. I need you to go all the way past all this and see whether there are landmarks over on this side. And as annoying as this is going to be, I think we're going to have to attack them. Gateway to Eternity. Ah, it's quite far to travel to these guys, but I'm willing to bet that they're quite easy to vassalize, funnily enough. But, well, they won't be after all this. How many territories do you have out of curiosity? 6 territories, eh? Is now the time to do this? We could always come back and deal with them. Thing is, Manny's still around, and if we don't move you there, maybe we'll come back. Actually, if it takes 10 turns, we could kill you now and then go back down there. Yeah, maybe that's the way that we do it. Alright, fine, we'll do that then. We'll declare war and then we'll immediately peace out with you. We will ask the Arachnos tribe for as much money as you're willing to give us to attack the Guardians of the Valley and not Mahrok. Oh, Mahrok is out here, right? So Mahrok should have a actual landmark. Alright, well, join... Wow, really? This is all you're willing to pay us? Screw you too, man. Alright, do this. Watch them say then no to the peace out, but we'll see. You go here. Wait, no. Delete 2 skeleton spears. We'll build them back after as needed. I just want to see if the auto-resolve will give us the caskets of souls. Medium casualties. They do have a Hyro Titan, but otherwise their army is so badly damaged I think it's not worth our time. So we'll auto-resolve this. We'll not kill off our chariots. Wow, that's a lot of damage. The heck? Why did this chariot is fine and I don't I never know with the auto-resolve, but the Banner of Eternal Flame is a nice find. Occupy. Yeah, sadly we did not get any of the caskets. I wasn't expecting to, but, you know, a man can dream. Settra, hold on to the banner for now. Necropolis of Qatar is ours, and immediate peace, and immediate, well, all the money that you can afford to give us, I guess. And then we'll go north, and then we'll come back and then wipe them out after. Probably not with Settra's army, though. He'll be busy dealing with Kugath. We can send somebody else down. Alright, good enough. At least this way we have this entire territory, and we'll grab Worship of Construction Reduction, and I guess we can build up the Mausoleum. Save 180 gold, probably not a big enough deal for us to be concerned with right now. Let's just do that, and then Public Order as well. Good. Alright, so, who's next? Actually, next we have not these guys. We do have one of these custodians. Now, we're waiting for a custodian in the Lich Priest of Nehekara type. And we need them, well, we need one for Settra. Panet, assuming that Settra's going north, you should, in theory, be safe to proceed back to Khemri, wherein, and grab this island while you're on the way, since it's a, it's got a port. Proceed back to Khemri, and then recruit yourself a nice little army. And we'll counteract some of the public order losses we have using our quest battles soon. And you need to... Really? How many turns until we can declare war on these jerk faces? Redeclare, I should say. 6 turns. Alright, well, keep puttering around here until you're ready for that then. Go out to sea. And then land here. You'll spend a turn de-attritionifying yourself, but this is a lot faster than, you know, the other option. And there you go. Unfortunate about the attrition, but otherwise I think we'll be okay. You got 2 points available. You have Sun-Scorched Bones, which was the the critical thing here. These guys are actually approaching higher ranks, so we should maybe try to go towards a rank 7, but only after we grab the Restless Dead. I'm gonna say grab the Trials Incantation of Righteous Smiting for the buff to the casket and the range units, I guess, potentially at least. Why not? Alright, so you're looking good. Ish. Psalmtic, you're stuck here. Just keep an eye on Manny. Scout, you're gonna keep on scouting as one does. What if it might be faster to go out to sea and then move that way? Alright, there's the Order of the Winter Sun. Kislevites here. Oh, you can't go out to sea this turn. Alright, fine. Fair enough. And screw you. Goodbye. Let's see. I believe that's it. So, City of Kings. We have another Pyramidion. Wait. Was it a Pyramidion that I wanted to build here? No, I think I wanted to replace either the Skull Repository or the Scorpion Nest. This costs us 775 in 1 turn. And yeah, just do that and then delete it from here. And then here we'll build a stoneworks, and then if we can or need to replace that in the other location, we'll do that as well. Here we need to do the same thing and start building the Undead Quarrymen. Here and here for the cash. And then Tomb of Queen Rasut, I guess, is in the same position exactly, so go for the Fated Pyramidion. Growth is still pretty okay here. Public order is, it's alright. It's not the best, it's not the worst. Anyway, Black Tower of Arcan, now we're free to go for the Crumbling Temple. We're also free to build the... We are not free to build the, because we don't have enough money. Cancel. Build. +1 control faction-wide. +10 canopic jar generation, some decent stuff. And it's got a solid garrison, so at least the Black Tower of Arcan won't fall to anybody anytime soon. Anyway, that was all the money we had, so we can go to tech. Tomb Prince capacity I don't really care for. I guess we can do another Necrotect and another Lich Priest capacity. Let's start with the Necrotect. We'll do a Lich Priest and keep ignoring the Tomb Princes for now. Eventually we'll make use of them, but I mean, at the cost of the canopic jars, I'd rather use get the more critical heroes. Several armies need casters, after all, or additional casters. What was I going to build here? Oh, probably start on the Pyramidion. Yeah, I can get the basic version. Missing here, we will probably want to build a Pyramidion as well, but we can't afford it. And then Lower River Mortis, we are not going to waste our money on that. Double check Diplo real quick and get ready to end the turn. Dunsali, I take it you don't want to trade with us? Sort of the Winter Sun does, though. I could always trade that. Why don't you like us? What the heck? That's just generic undead aversion. They are friends with these guys, though. Yeah, we can trade with them for now. It's money per turn. And some additional cash. Why not? I like so. 300 per turn for the Tomb Kings. That's a fairly considerable amount. I'd love to trade with the Guardians of the Valley, but again, the thing is, if we're going to take all of their stuff, there's no point. I'm a little bit disappointed that by defeating their lord, we didn't confederate them. I feel like that should be a system that should be, you know, implemented fully for the Tomb Kings. If it works for the Greenskins and the Norskins, and especially for Settra. Uh-oh. Lich Priest buried. Hero action... We're not using any hero action costs. Versus enemy hero action success chance. I'd rather not risk it. Lich Priests should live only to serve their king's undying will. Betrayal should be anathema to their order, yet one among their number has betrayed us by conspiring with a rival Tomb King. How should we proceed? Bury him. 1,000 years confined to his tomb, with maybe just a few scarabs and scorpions for company, should teach this treacherous cleric the error of his ways. Probably hence the he'll returned to madness thing. And oh, I guess these guys did appear to... Oh, that's where Qatar went. I was wondering. Huh. They haven't used their special Necrotect for it. Well, if they don't, we will use ours. I guess another reason that we'll have to march on down here. Maybe these guys can take care of them, but I doubt it. Anyway, Settra, you got a long way to go, bud. You gotta get to Manny before he goes elsewhere, so get the heck out of here. Should also build stuff here before Settra's construction costs and stuff. Oh, he already moved past it. Well, at least I built the most important thing. My bad on that. Yeah, do this, start on the first Pyramidion, since we need these everywhere, and then the Grand Ossuary as well. Beautiful. Alright, now, you are going to pop into Entomb Beneath the Sands, heal yourself up at least a teensy bit, and then next turn... You're gonna go for that island. Oh, gotta be careful about this though. If we accidentally clip it while on land, it'll screw us over. Alright, and then... Oh, right, I forgot about you. If anybody was screaming at their monitor, you get used to it. Okay, we're just gonna manually fight this. Oh, we do have a unit of Black Orcs there. Good for them. Now, I'm just gonna, yeah, just speed through this one, because it's a silly little fight that we really can't auto-resolve. And this is why, one of the reasons I should say, it's probably or possibly a good idea to put some heavy hitters in every army, just to enable them to auto-resolve in situations like this. The AI has a tendency to underestimate things like skirmisher units despite their strength, so, yeah. Anyway, speaking of, pop you in here from the last battle, pop you in here, pop you in here. How many boar boys do they have? 2. Alright, fair enough. I think you guys could just stay back here until the enemy gets to you. They'll be traveling a long way to reach you after all. Alright, and we have skirmish mode available on you guys, so everything is good. They have a limited amount of archers, and I want to make sure that we target the Black Orcs. Where are they here? Alright, so, well, you should be able to do it. Alright, fair enough. In fact, wait, I want to do this. So you go here, and you go here, you go here, you go here, you forward a little bit. Yes, alright. Boar boys, and quickly attack the Black Orcs. Get at least one volley off and then back off. Never mind, the dune's in your way, unfortunately. As soon as the boar boys close the distance, we're going to have to back off anyway. No choice in the matter. Ooh, we can, well, alright, alright. Time to back off. You guys back off as well? Alright, we could pop off our first, what's the cooldown on this? 150? Force the archers at least to move through it. Alright, why not? And hey, why did you stop? Come on, what are you doing? This is not the way. Alright, you three, well actually you two, I would like you to go after the boar boys, or at least get a volley off on them. You guys are gonna do the same thing. Get a volley off, and frankly, if they charge you, that's probably fine. Alright, our side looks good. You guys move this way. There we go. Some nice volley. No. What are you doing? Don't run directly into the boar boys, you bunch of idiots. This is why you can't trust skirmish mode ever. Alright, at the very least, Spokal Stalkers are obliterating the boar boys. Otherwise, you guys are fine. And the Stalkers get a couple more volleys up and then continue backing off. You can continue backing off. That boar boy unit is dead. Get a couple of volleys into the infantry. And then you go this way. Turn skirmish mode back on. You guys are fine. Alright. Looks good to me. Keep on backing off. Oh, I hate how the Eyes of the Desert, the Regiment of Renown, it sort of tries to back off. It's kind of annoying. Or not doesn't. When you try to set it up, I'll show it to you guys later. It doesn't set up on the same level as the other Spokal Stalkers do. And that's not good for obvious reasons. Alright, you guys are good. You guys move out this way. Okay, you're going to need to turn off skirmish mode. You guys need to back off once again. You guys go this way. Back. And don't engage in a shootout. Alright, you guys go this way to the rest of the army. Alright, and you can fire at this unit of Biggins, and then you two can fire at the unit of Black Orcs, and you can probably destroy that unit fairly soon, so why don't you do so? Like so. Nice volley. Obviously the Black Orcs are going to be a lot less vulnerable to that than the other units, but all good. Alright, you're going here. You're going to back off in case the charge. Frankly, you could probably take the charge, but all good again. Alright, let them fight some of our melee troops. Alright, Sepulchral Stalkers, reposition. This is what I'm talking about. See? Okay, wait. See? When you drag them together, they don't... yeah. They don't position themselves like you'd want them to. Anyway, you guys go here and fire into the flanks of all of these guys. Let's pop in you and you. You can duel the enemy lord. You can pop off the Jeff's incantation. Here, Necrotect, do you need to heal any of the... Yeah, this guy's a little bit damaged. Alright. Pop you here. You guys are good. And then chase the enemy down, but keep firing at any enemies. Don't engage in the shootout. In fact, you guys loop around and go after the enemy error boys. You... into melee. After the arrow boys, you guys back off for a second. Alright, the Lord has nearly defeated the enemy. And other Spokal Stalkers, you could use a little bit of a heal. Go for it. Alright, you guys, melee mode. You guys this way. And give it a quick little charge. We've got a few of the enemies coming back. The Spokal Stalkers will tear through the enemy range units. Let's pop a... I don't know. Arrow boys here? Yeah, why not? Like so. Scarab Swarm. Look, that unit is done for. Go after the enemy range units, and I do believe we're done. All I had to do is hold the line while we and did most of the work with the stalkers and such. Like so, and chase them down a teensy bit. Just because we can. Whether it provides us any bonuses considering it's a settlement, I'm not entirely sure, but the extra, I don't know, few seconds isn't going to make a difference anyway. Alright, then speed it up. Speed it up to max, chase them all down. That's another great thing about this army. We have pretty fantastic chasing capabilities. We could have reduced the damage we've taken a little bit. Basically, it's only one unit and only lost 8 units, which will mean it'll be up to, like, the 85% of its HP anyway. And oh, you let the enemy lord escape? Alright, come on, shock on them. There you go. Alright, that's enough of that. No problem at all. And this is what I'm talking about. The auto-resolve severely underestimates a skirmisher cav and stuff like that. Like, pretty much nothing in this army can actually reach them. The only threat to them are the orc error boys, and we had more than enough other units in order to take those guys out. So, auto-resolve, what the heck are you talking about? In what world would half our army have died to this? It could also be an anti-Tomb King's bias. Sometimes, some factions are disliked by the auto-resolve a lot more than others, but, I mean, the auto-resolve's been okay with Settra's army, and that's got a surprising amount of fragile units, all things considered, so maybe we're okay. Alright, come on now. And good to go. Alright, and was that another Dragon Helm? I skipped by it. Yes it is. King Wakov, you don't need the Dragon Helm because we have 2 Dragon Helms now, and that means Fuse, big money. And on Discord. That's solid. Take it. It's yours. Scepter of Stability, Scepter Scroll of Blast. Let's give us targeting range at least. Can attempt to just transform these into something better. Blast and, I don't know, Power Fuse into Forbidden Rod. Alright, well, once Settra has regeneration, we could probably give that to him. In fact, what do we need for this? That's this, Armor of Eternity. We need spices. Again, spices? They're so far. There's gotta be another spices nearby, right, game? Alright? Let's see any. Well, we'll get it. It's an armor that guarantees regeneration, which Settra most definitely needs. Anyway, let's keep on going. Panat, you are gonna grab this mysterious island real quick. No battle there since it's an island, and ooh, we can build more stuff here. Including another Hyro Titan. Might as well start on that War Sphinx as well. You can grab... let's go Shiny Boots and Fresh Recruits. A little bit of speed. The fighting capability won't help here because you're going to Khemri in order to recruit stuff anyway, so yeah, and slash take some of the units here. We can also use you to deliver some units to some of the other armies, which might be a decent option. Anyway, you keep recruiting. I think we will save the global... Well, actually, you can make Screaming Skull Catapults like this while recruiting other stuff. And if anybody else needs the global recruitment, then we'll, you know, punt it over to them. Crypt Barracks here. Probably not needed. And another gold mine, which is nice. Some more money after all. Alright, let's build these 2 up real quick. Missed you. Real quick, and... Did I check Necrotechs this turn? I did not. I do like the hit point increase and recovery, but it's not what we want now. So recruit and delete. Ah, please give me the guy that gives us speed. I really need it. I'm really banking on that with this army. I really like the concept of a super speedy infantry. I've done it before and I've enjoyed it every single time to a pretty great amount. Great degree, whatever. Anyway, City of Kings is fine. Black Tower of Arcan. Were we going to build another Pyramidion here? I'm going to assume that that is indeed the case. Crumbling Temple, and... we could also go for a... Royal Burial Chamber rather than the Pyramidion right now, which would give us additional canopic jars per turn and construction cost reduction faction-wide. The only thing about that is... we should probably still go for the Pyramidion just to start leveling it up, because it takes a while. Which is why I did that. Anyway, let's go for the Memorial Masons. Gotta remember that these do cost us canopic jars per turn, but at the end of the day, they will probably make us a fair bit of money. And we're certainly getting up there, up to nearly 10k per turn now, which is a lot more for Tomb Kings than for other factions, since our armies are free. Because we can only go up from here. Slanashi giggle. Anyway, Land of the Dead, keep building those Pyramidions, and the same thing for... -9. Soon we won't have that, well actually we already don't have that construction time reduction. And we do really like that. And then Carrion Nest. You're kind of in a dangerous location. Maybe we'll build defenses here. At least temporarily. We'll probably delete them later. And oh, Sphinx of Fa, we need defenses here as well, which we also cannot afford. Can we afford the marble? Yes. Alright, we'll do that. Once we have the cash, which we're going to have to try to acquire next turn. I keep wanting to move Prince Psamtik, but there isn't a need. Skip, skip, skip. I built you your additional spears. Yes, yes, but I did not level you, which I very much should have. Now, Master Charioteers, that's Settra. Melee attack charge bonus. The only one who's not going to hoard canopic jars. He has people for that. Or revered stone. Wait, not revered stonemasonry. Stone sentinels. We will want some sphinxes in his army as well. But frankly, that's all right. But yeah, Master Charioteers. It's not even a question, really. To be honest. Tomb Prince, you have Air Command Persevere. Those are the important things, so you're free to go through Indomitable Will and start moving towards the Desert Strike. Otherwise, end turn. Alright, Arachnos Wa fails. Nemesis crown claimed by Carrick Ziflin. Interesting, okay. Not something I'm expecting out of the dwarfs, but interesting. You are still moving towards Obelisk of Judgment, so please proceed on over. And while we have the reductions, may as well build the mausoleum. Though it is rather expensive. And I think by turn 50, by next episode, we'll have Khalida on field, because we're getting rather close to easily being able to rack up 50k. We are a little bit short on the canopic jars, but we're certainly getting where we want to be. You. Keep moving through all this. These guys don't seem to care about the sudden and inevitable betrayal, but we need to see what's going on over there. And yeah, we'll send a separate army to travel through this and take these guys out for us. Oh, right. I was like, wait a second, where are you going again? You are needing to... Alright, march stance, I guess. Right into Khemri. Huh, wait, you could just land here and go into Great Obelisk of Khemri. Yeah, but do we want to be near the port? I guess it depends on where we send you next. We will need to continue dealing with the orcs. We'll need to deal with these guys as well. I'm not sure, so you're just going to go near Khemri. Plus, you will probably need to trade... Actually, no, probably about it. You're going to need to trade some of the troops from this guy. Speaking of this guy, let's get a couple more Tomb Guard. Some with spears this time. Maybe pop in a couple of Necropolis. Double up... Necropolis Knights, rather. Double up on the Halberds. We'll need more Tomb Barks as well, but you're kind of out of capacity now. Also got to figure out what exactly I want in your army, but it's going to be just... several things, so yeah, anyway. Generic lord and all that. Hakor, alright, moment of truth. Are you able to... Okay, so I think we won't be able to do it this turn. You need to head out to sea and not clip this. There you go. We'll do it next turn. Took a while, but obviously worth it. King Wakaf, you need to walk it off, but also go all the way to Monuments of Eternal Death. So proceed there. I wonder where their main stack is. Hopefully it's not here just to move to Golden Skull as soon as we're out, but I guess we'll find out. Alright, you can also level up. You have Canopic Jar Hoarder maxed out now. Your Stalkers or Tomb Guard or save points. Oh, it's at rank 15. Okay, it's probably not going to save points for that long. It's too much. What does a 10 me do? Useless. Alright, Sun-Scorched Bones, melee +6 for Tomb Guard versus Elite Cavalrymen. Additional speed and missile strength for them, eh? Yeah, I think we'll start with Elite Cavalrymen. Stone Sentinels is also... Well, Stone Sentinels will increase the melee capabilities of Spokal Stalkers rather than using them solely in... range. I mean, we'll get it all, whatever, it's all good. What about the Lich Priests? You have Canopic Jar Hoarder now maxed out, and yes, Restless Dead, finally. Alright, what about the Necrotect? Ooh, check the Necrotect as well. Grab Stone Shaper, I think, because it's defensive. Yes. And then, check more Necrotects. What do we have? Another intelligent one. No. Not what we want, unfortunately. Eventually. Just keep milling until we get what we want. Wait, we got one Necrotect additional capacity coming up soon, so we can actually grab one of the intelligent variant as well. This one, Genius Architect, because you can be used to heal up any army with a decent amount of constructs. But otherwise, Somtic is good, but Scout is not. So Scout, you are going to move this way. Or keep moving this way. I don't really care about Sartosa, so just stay on this coastline. And the new guy is going to need at the very least Canopic Jar Hoarder. I guess we can get Restore, Stone Shaper, and Wrath of the Creator. Perfect. Alright, the additional recruit ranks are really helping out. I guess I could have waited a turn and gotten 2 more recruit ranks, but whatever. Should also send an army out to sea rather soon. We should do that with an army that'll be adept at auto-resolving, though, for obvious reasons. Especially since our healing at sea is probably going to be at least somewhat lackluster. Anyway, build the Mortuary Sanctum and then keep upgrading those refurbished workshops. What's our loss of... It's not so bad. -4. Public Order could use a little work here, but it's all good. You, I guess, can now lose the Grand Ossuary in order to replace it with the refurbished workshop. Alright, Cracked Lands. You are going to keep building the Pyramidians up. You can just go straight to Tier 3. And Public Order is okay right now, so lose the Mortiferous Sanctuary first rather than the Growth, because we could still use that for as long as possible. Same thing for you with the Crumbling Temple. Here we have the Sepulchre, and we need to upgrade you, so we'll wait, but for now let's maximize that public order and the growth. Looks good. Wait, what about... Did I forget about the... Oh, ran out of money again, I was gonna say. Build the defensive structure, the desert lookout here, whatever. We'll deal with it eventually. Someday I'll remember. And everyone will be shocked and turn. Alright, Manny ain't running by the looks of it. Works for me. Who is this? Oh, right, the Scorpion guy. And we got the Dynasty Researchers. Unhappy Oh, okay, it's a local province. I was worried about that. Still, just as we remove the building here, but all good. Alright, I'm going to start, after the Undead Quarrymen here, with the defensive structure here. We will probably delete it later. And the defensive structure here at Carrion Nest as well. The places that are basically incapable of defending themselves. Frankly, Amsu's charge isn't in the best place either, but whatever. All good. Manny, you are sitting at the Obelisk of Judgment. Frankly, you should have been at the Shrine of the Mighty Flame, but whatever. Ooh, wait a moment. I was hoping we could immediately reach with Sauron, because I'm pretty sure we can now declare war on him and destroy him for good. After he paid us off to leave him alone. But anyway, is it time to start researching the wisdom of the next dynasty? You know what, let's grab another Lich Priest. We have been wanting to get one for Settra for a bit now, and I think that's still the case. Also, a Necrotect check for like the 50th time. Another Genius Architect, which is good, but not the thing that we're looking for here. Alright, fair enough, fair enough. I want big fight of Hakor versus the Skull Reef. Let's see what we get this time. Raid the Cove. Wow. Okay, that's vastly different from that other one that we got. Interesting, though. The Giant Pile of Mortar is going to be a problem for our Nehekar warriors, which are somewhat fragile, but otherwise I think we're okay. Go. Alrighty, here we are, another trip to the Dead Isles. Not, I guess, to be confused with the Isle of the Dead, as in where they keep the Sword of Cain on Ulthuan. But anyway, should be interesting. And hey, now that I think about it, where else would you, or should you find a bunch of Skull Reefs and Dead Isles than in the middle of the Great Mortis River? Anyway, gonna start the battle off with a little bit of bombardment on the enemy mortars, as well as dropping that Tomb Swarm upon them, though I don't expect either of them to do all that much damage to these things. That's what we got the cavalry in this particular army for. Well, actually, that wasn't too bad of a shot. Even at this distance, with numbers, the enemy is going to have at least some trouble, despite our lack of accuracy at this range. And perhaps more importantly, the zombie artillery crews are extremely fragile, and now what are these for? Look at... Why would you... Interesting. I genuinely am not sure why you have these spiky blades on the front of the mortars. Maybe it's something to sort of help them get locked down into the ground. Although this looks more like a, I don't know, like an actual stabby type of deal. But anyway, not that important. Do the cannons have those? No, just the mortars. Well, either way, speaking of the cannons and the mortars alike, our piles of cav have ridden around. One of them will crash into an enemy unit of a zombie pirate gunnery mob with hand cannons, but otherwise it's mortars all over the place. We will get hit with a Tide Call, but it's not going to do too much damage, though the anti-acceleration and speed reduction combination is pretty solid on a unit of cavalry attempting to get away. Now that said, the enemy army, in terms of attempting to move towards us, has left too many of their artillery pieces unprotected. And besides, the rest of our army has begun to close the distance as well. And there we go. Ghostly and non-ghostly unit alike. And Kopesh's begin to swing on the front line, and we should be able to cut our way through Depth Guard and the zombie pirates alike with decent ease. Depth Guard also, for some reason, well, they're vampires, but they don't have magical damage, and that's really good for us. I mean, they're just using mundane axes here, so that makes sense, but anyway, it's good for us because they can't take out the Regiment of Renown. As with Ethereal, we're up at 87%, basically max physical resistance that we can have. Beautiful. Alright, with that, the balance power shifts to about 90% in our favor with no more artillery to call upon. The enemy is in trouble. Gonna start getting those shots off from the Ushabti with great bow at the big boy there, Rotting Leviathan, while our regular Ushabti start mincing a few of the enemy infantry units at last. They didn't get to do this in the last island because they were so busy keeping those Rotting Leviathans back, but look at them swing those swords. Ushabti have always been a very entertaining, a monstrous infantry unit with all those nice animations that they do with their weapons. Definitely top tier in that regard. Alright, and it looks like these zombies here are pretty much done. In fact, the entire enemy army is pretty much done. We have got only a couple units remaining, and once again, by the looks of it, I'd wager that the enemy Rotting Leviathan will be melting away, or start melting away long before it loses all of its HP. Enemy fleet admirals surrounded by piles of skeletons attempting to make her way out of the press, I suppose, but that's not going to happen. And down goes the fleet admiral, and in a few seconds, down will go the Rotting Leviathan as well. A few last shots from those Ushabti with great bow, or perhaps just the crumbling damage. And the battle's ours. Beautiful. Well, let's get that extra 10k. Alrighty, there we go. No problem. Much, much easier to handle the giant pile of mortars than it was previously to handle the very much less fragile giant pile of Rotting Leviathans instead. We're obviously taking the endless march for our trouble here, and damage-wise, looks like the first unit of the Hawk Legion ended pretty darn well here, and as always the Osirian's Legion as well, plus a solid work out of the Ushabti with great bows, which absolutely minced that poor unit of Depth Guard. Endless March. And another 10k as well. There we go. Potion full hardiness, sure. Just double checking. I don't imagine there's another Skull Island here, but I did want to see. You, I guess, can now go back to dealing with these guys, right? Ah, we got 3 turns, but that'll allow us the time to land, heal, and then move towards them, so why the heck not, right? I think you're able to land here. It's kind of unclear. Let's go to try. We'll need 1 turn to heal, and then we can raid or whatever. Yeah, okay, there we go. And might as well channel. You can also, now that you have the Restless Dead, and grab at least 1 point in Skullstorm. Should be real nice against the blobs of rats. And while I don't really care for these swamp climbs, it's probably better to take it just so that the rats don't come back and annoy us. Alright, that looks good to me. Settra, back to the top. Man, we're getting a lot of battles in this campaign. Like, every single episode is like 8 or 9 battles. It's pretty fantastic. And I guess Settra has a pretty good start for that particular purpose. Alright, so Panat and Rakash, you guys are going to swap units, and I'll deal with that in a little bit. Let's move everybody else around as needed. And where was... Alright. Couldn't see the fella. Had to hit. Who are you again? You are the Genius Architect. Oh, right. I guess we'll put you in whichever army we end up deciding will have enough constructs to make use of you. And we'll get some of those Lich Priests so soon. Samtik is fine where he is. And the Scout is gonna keep on scouting. Alright. It's probably gonna identify like Sartosa and some other factions for us, but whatever. Oh, or some Southern Realmers. I don't imagine they'll randomly declare war on us. I just want to make it far enough north so that we find Teclis and Gelt. At least potential trading partners, and then we'll probably send Scout all the way up north, see how the Empire is doing and what other potential subjugation targets we have there. Walk up. Alright, you. Hello, what do we have at the Monuments of Eternal Death? Ooh, bigger garrison and a minor settlement battle, as well as some units. Ooh, Savage Giant. Alright, I think that'll be a good fight, but I think it's one that we'll save until next episode. The Defenses here at the Obelisk of Judgment are a lot more pathetic, so we'll send Settra on in. I don't even know if this warrants an actual fight, but let's see what this looks like together. Pyrrhic victory, medium casualties. I got a couple Crypt Horrors, and Manny is in it again. Why not? Let's pop the... Yeah, pop the Banner of Eternal Flame on the Sons of Horus. I guess we could also give this to Settra, but he already has flaming attacks and the Searing Flame thing, so he's pretty good in that regard already. Frankly, since he causes fire weakness, it might actually be a good idea to keep at least some fire damage in his army as well, or keep his line fired up with that Banner of Eternal Flame. Either way, fighty time. Alrighty, here we go. Manfred's last fight, most likely, or last stand, depending on how you want to look at it. Let's see how it goes. Settra and his chariots move down the middle of the battlefield and then peel away to different parts. The two sort of individual blobs of chariots with two melee chariots, one bone boat, one tomb bark, and one hero. All together, whereas Settra will move by himself to just try to annoy as many enemies as he can, and maybe, if he can get them to blob up, activate that Wrath of Tra of his. There we go. Gotta get it on cooldown and dish out the damage, just out of curiosity. I maybe I should have waited for the bats, but all good. 6,000 damage from it, not too bad. Now, looks like Settra's going to get hit by a Spirit Leech, as well as Manfred himself, plus a bunch of halberd-wielding Graveguard and those bats, all of which could be potentially annoying. But Settra will continue laying in with his halberd and, just generally speaking, moving through, all the while his chariots start to do work over on the flanks. Typical sort of strategy for his army, but gotta enjoy it while we can, because it's going to change rather soon, I'd wager. Again, once we remove the artillery piece, we won't need the Tomb Guard to essentially sit back and protect it, and then once we get a couple more monstrous units, as in a couple more Sphinx-type constructs, they will be able to close the distance a little bit more and help anchor the line for the chariots as well. So, or whether it be for the chariots or the Tomb Guard, and oh, gotta be careful with that. Actually, never mind, that was a pretty nice hit. I figured that the shot from the Casket of Souls would obliterate a bunch of our own units, but it looks like it primarily hit the enemy unit of Fellbats and nearly killed it, and not killed a bunch of our own Tomb Guard. Gotta appreciate that one. And I do see the archers on the Tomb Bark firing away despite being closed in melee, so looks like it's working just fine. Or maybe they do when it backs off slightly, I'm not entirely sure. Not that it matters, because everybody's getting hit by those Khemri beetles, and that works quite nicely for us. Both in terms of the additional damage as well as the debuff that the enemy suffers because of it. Anyway, how is Settra? He's peeled away from Manfred. Took a little bit of damage, but we didn't cast any real spells with him, so he wasn't healing himself, just due to the fact that with the rest of our army not having been here yet, it was pointless to waste all that mana, wherein we wouldn't be healing our units. Now, that said, does look like a couple of our chariots did get stuck in the massive pile of Graveguard here, so we might have to move in to bail them out. Fortunately, there was a reason we put that Wrath of Tra on cooldown as fast as we could, and that was so that we could use it again when needed. Settra's gonna move around and try to get deeper into the blob of enemies before popping that off once again. A couple of chariots have been lost, but not to worry, we got plenty in that unit. And though we do have to be careful about losing the unit, it's like the entirety of the unit. It's the sort of annoying thing about the Tomb Kings and I guess undead in general, wherein you have the you may want to use fragile basic units, but you want to keep the high veterancy ones around, right? So you gotta end up being really careful with them in the mid to late game once they become, well, even more fragile by virtue of facing off against more elite units. Anyway, I digress. The Tomb Guard facing off once again against the Graveguard, perhaps for the last time for Settra. and depending on what the settlements there look like. Manfred is down to 40% of his HP, and Settra has started casting, so he has slowly started to recover some of his. He should be pretty difficult to kill once we get him some kind of healing, whether it be that healing potion or just that regenerative armor that you can get from the mortuary cult. Though frankly, that's probably one we'll probably want to get to every single lord, or nearly every single lord. Regen is definitely going to be real helpful for us, since we don't have an invocation of Nehek to rely upon and have to deal with just using our army reanimate ability, but we got a level towards that. And the passive. Anyway, looks like Settra delivers the final blow to Manfred, who falls off his hillsteed to a sandy grave. And it looks like the battle is just about done. A nice final breath from the Khemri and War Sphinx on the enemy White King. The last of the Graveguard are in the process of melting away, and though Manfred did give us at least something of a fight, it wasn't one he had any hope of winning against Settra. Alright, there we go. Manfred falls once more, and I don't think he's going to be getting back up from this round. 30,000 damage on Settra, nearly 30,000 on the Casket of Souls, 24k on the Sons of Horus as well, pretty darn solid, and 22 for the Loyal Bones, who carried the day for the units of Tomb Guard with sword and board this time. Just reminding myself that I need to get the elite variants, but we'll get them out of the pyramids. But anyway, occupy the place like so. An earthing rod, I guess. Sure. And don't know whether we need that, but whatever. Hopefully Soran sticks around close to us, because we'll hunt him down while we move to the rest of Manfred's territories. However, we're going to do that next time, as we're out of time, and this is a pretty good place to call it. We've continued expanding a fair bit and making a decent chunk of change. I expect the next episode we will either get very, very close to confederating Khalida, or outright just confederate Khalida. Just gonna have to wait and see. So stay tuned for more Settra to find out. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episode / campaign. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.